shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea.
Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie?
They were here 2 days, and they got a lawsuit.
Where's Jackie Gate? The president faced with what I think actually is a big problem. The White House press briefing room went off yesterday. KJP decided she was going to spin it the way she did. Atlantic Airlines has a new trans drag campaign. Bill Maher defines victimhood. Kamala Harris has a new alliance member. All that and more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. My name is Jobob. Thanks so much for tuning in this morning on Daily Caller Live. It starts right now.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
Might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
Live from the dingy bunker, completely cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in on today. It is September 29th, the year of our Lord 2022. Brand new you in 22. Never mind, it's too late. You missed the boat. You know who didn't miss the boat? Oh, I'm not going to make that joke. Self-censorship is a good thing to remain employed here at the, really anywhere. Joe Biden yesterday was at a hunger summit, which I thought what he said not regarding the Where's Jackie thing was probably more interesting just in terms of how things work in the world. But nevertheless, he made a pretty dang big blunder when he was asking for a congresswoman who is no longer with us. All that is sad. We're not making light of that situation. But I did want to play this clip. Joe Biden, and you've probably seen this everywhere. I would imagine, I didn't watch Tucker last night, but I'm imagining Tucker had it, as well as pretty much everybody. Bret Baier went big on this on Fox and was talking about the White House press briefing room and how they responded to this latest snafu of the President of the United States. All right, I'll play this clip and then we'll discuss, because I thought this was a fascinating kind of turning point. Product placement. Turning point for the White House press briefing room. Check this out. This is going to get interesting.
And I want to thank all of you here, for including bipartisan elected officials like Representative Governor, Senator Braun, Senator Booker, Representative Jackie. Are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
Okay, so that was the clip that everybody's talking about right now, is Where's Jackie? Now, I'm going to read a pretty lengthy part of this New York Post article, because here's the thing. The president made another blunder in his just overall talking. He does this a lot. We have every Monday, the first segment of this show is President Biden's blunders over the weekend, generally speaking. But that's not really out of the ordinary, unfortunately, for this administration. However, something happened yesterday that Bret Baier on his show pointed out, that this is a new, I don't want to say a new era in the press briefing room, but generally your Washington Post, the New York Times, and a bunch of your friendlier news outlets, especially to a Democrat president, tend to blush this over. They tend to not really pay that much attention to it. But yesterday, in the White House press briefing room with KJP at the helm, a lot of the press pool jumped on this story and didn't let it go. I've got a clip from KJP explaining it. I'll play that after we talk about, read some of this from this New York Post article. The late Representative Jackie Walorski, I believe that's how you pronounce it. So if you remember, she passed away about a month and a half ago in an automobile accident in her home state of Indiana. Karine Jean-Pierre spun the story as if well, she was on top of Joe Biden's mind. Let me read this from the New York Post. The Biden administration's regular press briefing devolved into chaos as reporters pressed Jean-Pierre to address the 79-year-old president's mental health. Biden made a gaffe earlier Wednesday at a nutrition event in Washington, D.C., saying, "Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie?" Despite the fact that he publicly mourned Walorski's death in a car crash last month, and even lowered the White House flags 2 days in her memory. Jean-Pierre gave almost identical answers when asked about the stunning remark by reporters from ABC, CNN, CBS, and the Washington Post, 4 news outlets that are not generally one to hit the president. The questions grew increasingly pointed as the press secretary said 9 times that Walorski was the simply top of mind for Biden, without saying that why the president thought she was still alive. Steve Portnoy from CBS News Radio, not a conservative by any stretch of the imagination, the third reporter to raise the topic after ABC's Cecilia Vega and CNN's Phil Mattingly asked Jean-Pierre, was the president confused? Was something written in the teleprompter that he didn't recognize? I'm trying to figure out what happened here, Portnoy added, which I feel like is a good time to play this clip from Jean-Pierre. So here's the thing. I watched this clip from KJP at the White House press briefing room. And again, while I disagree with a lot of the policy stuff, I look at politics as a sport and look at the White House press briefing room as a player in a game. I didn't agree with a lot with what Jen Psaki said, a lot with what Jen Psaki said, but she was good at spinning things. I thought, given the source material, KJP did a pretty good job at spinning this. Let me know what you think in the comments section, but at the same time, she got hit hard by a bunch of people. And we'll continue with this New York Post article. Check this out.
Final one. What happened in the hunger event today? The president appeared to look around the room for an audience member, a member of Congress who passed away last month. He seemed to indicate she might be in the room. What happened there?
So the president was, as you all know, you guys were watching today's event, a very important event on food insecurity. The president was naming the congressional champions on this issue and was acknowledging her incredible work. He had already planned to welcome the Congresswoman's family to the White House on Friday. There will be a bill signing in her honor this coming Friday. So, of course, she was on his mind. She was of top of mind for the president. He very much looks forward to discussing her remarkable legacy of public service with them when he sees her family this coming Friday.
So that is, okay, so she didn't have a ton to work with there, but at the same time, didn't just say, hey, the president made a mistake. Sorry about that. Instead, it was like, no, she was top of mind because the family's coming over on Friday, which I think, again, isn't the worst response, at least I think. But when she got pressed, it didn't turn out to work in her favor. You're jumping to a lot of conclusions. If that had been the case, I would have stated that, Jean-Pierre added. What I said was that she was on top of mind and that he's going to see her family in just 2 days' time. Portnoy, the CBS radio guy, followed up asking Jean-Pierre if the White House would release Biden's prepared transcript so that people could understand how the error occurred. The press secretary answered that she didn't understand what that had to do with anything. I just answered the question about her being top of mind, Jean-Pierre added. I don't think that's unusual. I feel like many of us have gone through that particular time where somebody's at the top of mind and you call them out. Here's the thing, which makes this, it's an understandable, defensible point. However, President Biden made a big thing about it. Now, what Karine Jean-Pierre, KJP, could have said is, look, the president deals with hundreds of people every single day. He made a mistake. We apologize for any offense that it might have caused. Moving on. That probably would have done quite a bit because the president does see a lot of people every single day. However, he publicly made a statement at the time. He supposedly called their family. He did all of these things to probably ensure that he knew, one, who this congresswoman was, and two, knew that she had passed away. So that, I don't know if that really makes all that much of a difference. But again, back to the main point of the White House press pool jumping all over this thing and not letting it go, by the way. Other reporters kept the pressure up. This again is from the New York Post. Matt Visser of the Washington Post telling Jean-Pierre, the confusing part is why Jackie and the family were top of mind. Does the president think she's living and in the room? I don't find that confusing, Jean-Pierre insisted. I mean, I think many people can speak sometimes when we have something at the top of mind. They're at the top of mind, exactly that. It happened at the event where we're calling out champions, congressional champions in particular, on this issue, continued KJP. Here we go. Here's some snark. At that point, Newsmax reporter James Rosen said, Karine, I have John Lennon top of mind just about every day, but I'm not looking around for him anywhere. Yep, that's funny. This is a funny comment. And of course, it's from James Rosen of Newsmax. And then KJP responded with, when you sign the bill for John Lennon as president, we can have this conversation. EWTN reporter Owen Jensen, meanwhile, interjecting, why not just apologize? Al Jazeera's Kimberly Halkett took up a matter and insisted a straight answer. These moments of confusion are happening with increasing frequency. Americans are watching this and having concerns. What do you say? What do you say to that? Bottom line here is the press pool jumped all over this thing. Bret Baier pointed out that they haven't collectively come together on an issue like this in a long time, especially with a Democrat in the White House. So what is this a sign of? I've heard a lot of people talk about, well, maybe this is a sign of the press and the media finally being fed up with having to turn a blind eye to Joe Biden's cognitive decline. Maybe they're fed up with having to cover for his blunders and mistakes, which is why they're now jumping all over this. But also, and somebody mentioned this in the comment here, let me see if I can find it up. Oh, Jerry said, and he has the nuclear button, he is getting scary. That's a huge component of it. At this point, it is a national security issue. We could go into, well, you know what? Yeah, let's talk about it, right? So if Joe Biden is not the one making the decisions and is cognitively impaired, and something happens to him, he resigns, whatever it is, the next in line is Kamala Harris. Go back through the list of vice presidents. Yeah, you may not have liked them, but it's fine. It's a normal person that's not going to do anything crazy. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, I think is, I got a second time self-censoring myself, making a comment that probably would have not been good to have on a live show. But bottom line is, I don't think Kamala Harris is equipped enough mentally to be able to take the role in any sort of major capacity if that were to come to it. Let me see if there's any comments. Morris said, top of mind, no, lost of mind. Yeah, Dean says, cognitively challenged. And Carlos said one of the funnier things, again, not making light of the situation with the Congresswoman or her family, but he says, I can see dead people. All right, yeah, that's funny. Anyways, let me see if I can get just the last couple lines of this New York Post article, because I thought this was super freaking fascinating. And I don't know, let me know if you think this is also fascinating. Again, the press pool saying that we have had it with being able to cover the grounds of the president. Top of mind is not an answer. Hackett, again, from Al Jazeera said, before dropping her attempted line of inquiry. Well, they talk about his former gaffes way back when. Joe Biden himself said that he's a gaffe machine in 2018. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything of the interesting component of that. But bottom line here is the whole, let's play this again one more time.
And I want to thank all of you here for including bipartisan elected officials like Representative Governor, Senator Braun, Senator Booker, Representative Jackie. Are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
Yeah, I think this could be a big turning point in how the media treats Biden's mental acuity. I think the next time he makes a big gaffe like this, I think the press pool is going to jump all over it again. And by the next time he makes a big gaffe like this, I mean the next time he talks. Because these happen very, very often, as one of those reporters said. So there's that. But here's the thing. I also wanted to get into what this event was in and of itself. Yes, the whole "Where's Jackie" thing took precedent, but there's another huge combating interest going on here that, I don't know, I can't help but poke fun at. The president was talking about the White House conference on hunger, nutrition, and health, and made some claims or set some goals that I thought were kind of interesting. Now, I want you to watch this, and then I'll explain what the White House's goals and ambitions are over the next, I think they said, 10 years by 2030, and see how they might be at odds with each other. Watch this from the president yesterday. Oh man, see, I don't hate this sort of thing, but it makes me sad. Glenda says, just joining, who's Jackie? We're not going to recap that. Would really, really appreciate it if you watch from the beginning, because we did a whole 15 minutes on it already, and we'll if you don't already know this, you can rewatch on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Getter, all the places that we stream live, in case you miss any part of the segment. But Glenda, I would highly recommend listening to the beginning part of the show as we go in depth on the "Where's Jackie" gate. It is very, very fascinating. Let me see. But getting back to this hunger and obesity thing, watch this clip from the president. Also, if you haven't already, I see a couple thousand of you watching this thing. I would really appreciate if you click the little like button wherever you're watching on the Daily Caller platforms, on my platforms, Getter, Twitter, YouTube. I think that's it, actually. Getter, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Really appreciate it if you just click the little reaction button or the like button, whatever it is that you have on your screen, and the little share button. Really, really appreciate you doing that. Or just engage with the post in any way, shape, or form. Let us know how you feel about the president and his brain slipping somewhat. Watch this clip, and we'll discuss the hunger and obesity issues in the United States after that. Check it out.
And to achieve ambitious goals that I know we can do if we work together. I really do know we can do this. End hunger in this country by the year 2030 and lower the toll. Lower the toll that diet-related diseases takes on for too many Americans. This goal is within our reach.
Lower the toll of diet-related diseases. Now, I believe the #1 killer of Americans every single year is heart disease, and the list goes down, pretty much everything being a symptom. Well, I guess death is the ultimate symptom, but goes down the list of obesity. What he's talking about, diet-related illnesses, he's talking about obesity. So, by that definition, right, of diet-related obesity, I think it's 70% of Americans are either overweight or obese. I'm not trying to make fun of you. I'm just that's what it is. The president is simultaneously trying to solve hunger and also obesity. People who don't eat enough and people who eat way too much. Both of those things are trying to be solved. Hey, Mr. President, I have an idea. Hear me out. What if? I don't feel like I need to go on with that joke. I think you probably get it. The White House convened a national conference on dietary health and food security on Wednesday for the first time in over 50 years to launch a national campaign to seek to tackle high obesity rates and end persistent hunger in the United States by 2030. Again, Mr. President, I have an idea for you. You're going to have to hear me out on this one, but in order to stop people from eating too much, maybe we can give their food to the people who don't have enough food. Also, I don't know, I'm not an expert in this at all, but the whole idea of being hungry in America seems, I'm not sure about that. I would be careful how I word this here. It would be an interesting challenge to see if somebody was able to starve to death in the United States of America. Starvation is a real thing and a real problem in a lot of places around the world, and I don't make light of that at all. But here in the United States, starving, it would be a challenge to try to starve to death here, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely ignorant of all of the statistics. But I'm not sure how big of an issue that is in the United States. We spent a lot of time talking about Joe Biden, where I want to get to this clip from Kamala Harris. This is short, and we're not going to spend a ton of time on this because, I don't know, it's just a clip of the vice president saying wrong things. And not wrong in the sense of I disagree with her. Wrong is in just the opposite of what is true. Here's Vice President Kamala Harris, who is at the DMZ, the demilitarized zone in North Korea and South Korea, on the border of North Korea and South Korea, not claiming something. Look, she misspoke. And I don't necessarily like to poke fun at people misspeaking as a guy who speaks for a living and now has to just talk off the cuff. I get it. I get people make mistakes and they have slips of the tongue. Having said that, when you have prepared remarks and you're the vice president of the United States and you're at one of the most contentious areas in the world, you're not allowed to make these mistakes. This is kind of an unacceptable mistake to make at that position, at that threshold. Again, coming from a person who gives a lot of grace to people who are talking, because I do so too, and I guarantee I'm going to make mistakes and say dumb things. I already today self-censored 2 hilarious but probably very inappropriate jokes. So I have a lot of sympathy for that, but nevertheless, Kamala Harris, watch this. We'll maybe play it twice because this is a very, very short clip. Check it out.
So the United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. And it is an alliance that is strong and enduring.
The United States of America shares an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. Again, look, I have a lot of sympathy for people talking and having slips of the tongue because I do it on this show. If I do, you guys comment on it and let me know, hey, you said this when you meant this. I go, oh, shoot, sorry. But if you have prepared remarks and you're the vice president and you're in one of the most contentious areas in all the world, you can't make that mistake. I'm some putz sitting in a small studio on the internet. She's the vice president of the United States. I wouldn't make that mistake, probably. But again, the rising to the challenge is not something that Kamala Harris is known to do. Play this clip one more time just so you can listen to it again.
So the United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. And it is an alliance that is strong and enduring.
Strong and enduring alliance with the Republic of North Korea. Okay, so we'll move on from that. Where do we want to go from here? There's 2 interesting kind of, let's go here. Well, you know what? Why not? We'll save the more nuanced discussion a little bit later. But this is Virgin Atlantic. Virgin Atlantic, the airline, has put out a trans/drag campaign, I think I saw somebody describe this on Twitter as the trans drag campaign. I don't actually know what their campaign is called. I didn't take 30 seconds to verify any of this because I don't really care all that much about this particular thing. But I thought it was interesting. I thought it was an interesting thing to see. Not from that's disgusting. How could they do that? No, I don't think this is necessarily normal. Just from a business standpoint, though. I don't know. I like your takes on that sort of thing. And I like hearing what you guys think in the comment section of whether or not businesses going woke, at least seemingly going woke, if we all know what that means, and how that affects their bottom line. So Virgin Atlantic put out this ad that I'm going to show you. And if you don't want to see it, you go ahead and close your eyes. But they put out this video. I don't know, in an attempt to, so everything a company does, right, is effectively hoping to increase their bottom line and make them more money. That's the entire goal of every company that's ever existed ever. There's nobody who has a goal of losing money. Even if they give money away, the thought is that, well, my charitable expenditures in this area are going to get me better PR, which is going to get me more money and cost in the door. The only objective of a business is to make more money. So, that being said, somebody in the marketing department or the PR department, and probably all the way up to the vice president of marketing, maybe even the CEO has heard about this. Somebody thought that this commercial would be a good idea for the bottom line. Now watch this and let me know if you think that is true. Check it out. Okay, so that was that. I'm just curious. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. Do you think that helps their bottom line or hurts their bottom line? Being more, let's just say flamboyant. Being a more flamboyant company that promotes whatever that commercial was, do they make more money or do they make less money? Now, interesting fun fact. I gettered this. If you're watching on Getter, what is a getter? Is it, so Twitter, right? I have a tweet. If I getter something, is that, I don't actually know, is that the verb that I do? But anyways, I gettered something. I gettered that video this morning and said this: Atlantic has launched a new campaign. Interesting strategy after reporting $638 million in losses. So again, would like to know, does this, bunch of people says strange, don't like it, less money. Brian says, yeah, less money. Ryan. Okay, I'm done with the internet today. Yeah, dude, say it every day. And Kimberly says, hey, it has nothing to do with flying. This is what exactly. That's exactly it. Does it have anything to do with flying? Is that, given the fact that the entire goal of a company is to make more money, is this how you do it? I don't know. Just wanted to bring that to you. Kind of get some. Oh, here we go. Here's some people saying gettering is a verb. So okay, so I get her something. Sounds like I'm getting my wife a present. If I get her chocolate, whatever. Wow, we're going off in a bunch of different directions. All right, I want to close out with this. I want to end the show on a contemplative note. Bill Maher, noted liberal, very, 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 very liberal, but at the same time realist, had on his show a segment about victimhood. And I thought that this was fascinating, and I want to play it as this is kind of a longish clip, and I don't know how much commentary we're going to give on the back end of it, but I thought it was just fascinating. Bill Maher, again, noted lefty, but at the same time realist, and likes to make sure that his side is being held accountable, which I hope to do too here when it is necessary. So watch this clip and we'll discuss on the other side, or maybe we'll just wrap it up for the day. We'll see. Check this out from Bill Maher. Oh, by the way, also, if you haven't already, there are still more of you watching currently than have clicked the like button or the reaction button that's down here in total. Would really, really appreciate you doing that. Maybe this makes you very, very upset. Maybe the Virgin Atlantic Airlines dancing video made you laugh. Maybe it was funny to you. But regardless, really, really appreciate any engagement with the post, especially if you're on Facebook, Twitter, Getter, or YouTube. And also the little share button. Really, really right down here. Helps us a lot. Mucho appreciated. Anyways, check this out from Bill Maher on his show on HBO from Friday.
Your book is about victims. I thought when I read this, there's a Boston law firm now and a nonprofit who have banded together to file a lawsuit on behalf of the people, the 50 Venezuelans in Martha's Vineyard. They were here 2 days, and they got a lawsuit. It says they've suffered economic, emotional, and constitutional harms. 2 days in the country.
It was off-peak season.
Right. Sometimes I had to play doubles when the courts were crowded. No, it's not been easy. But again, so I just thought maybe since your book is about victims, you would want to talk about what you think, how this relates.
Yeah, I mean, it pays to be a victim in this country, but it pays to turn other people into victims, too. I want to learn what cut of the profits those attorneys are going to get from their judgments against Ron DeSantis in their civil suit. At the end of the day, most immigrants do come to this country as underdogs. I mean, they come here to be scrappy. They want to use their own efforts and talents to rise to the top. But now you have someone show up and say, hey, you're a person of color. You've been exploited. And guess what? You could be entitled to damages, which I get a cut of. Victimhood becomes a currency. It's trading at a bubble, and people are just cashing in, using other people to cash in their chips when it's trading at a high. And that's how we've gone from being this nation of underdogs to this nation of victims, and even polluting people who come to this country as underdogs, turning them into thinking of themselves as victims. I think it's immoral.
So it's interesting. Again, wanted to end the show on a contemplative note here, but I thought that was an interesting take. Bill Maher saying that, well, these people were here at Martha's Vineyard for 2 days. Also, worse things could have happened. But it seems like we've got a country of victimhood where victimhood is the biggest, most valuable currency that you could have, especially in sorry, I'm reading some comments, especially in the modern climate. So there's that. Let's wrap it up. There's that Swiss story that I'll get to eventually, but I don't know. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. I also haven't decided if we're going to be here tomorrow. I'm headed out again, traveling. So if we're able to get a show recorded before leaving today, we'll have a show tomorrow. More broad strokes thing, probably. Anything that happens after noon today will not make the show tomorrow, but that's if we do a show tomorrow. But I appreciate you watching, tuning in, sticking around. If you haven't already, really appreciate a follow on any of your social media platforms. Just type in JOBOB pretty much anywhere. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Getter, Truth Social, Ibble, all of the social media platforms. Just type in JOBOB. You'll be able to find me. Let's see. Any other announcements? A week from tomorrow, what is it? Friday, October 7th, going to be in Norco, California. If you live somewhere in that area, come check me out there. In Newport Beach, the following Friday. Tickets available the 12th, which is the Wednesday before that. Following Friday will be in Austin and then South Dakota. And if you want any of the schedules, you can find it on any of my social media accounts, and come say hi. If we're in your neck of the woods, I would appreciate you doing so. What was the last thing? If you haven't go to my Facebook page if you haven't already. Just type in JOBOB. You'll be able to find me. I think there's one of me. So you should be able to find me pretty easily. I'm going to start doing some extra long show. I don't even know what to describe it as. I'm just doing, another podcast that's kind of extra to this. Similar type stuff. We bring on guests and talk about things, and we'll be doing that at 10 a.m. this morning Pacific time. What is that? 1 p.m. Eastern time. So if you haven't already, go follow there, and we'll be live on all of my platforms on Facebook, Getter. I don't know if we're going to do Twitter, but YouTube specifically. That's going to do it for us. We will see you up maybe tomorrow, but also maybe Monday. And if I don't see you, have a great weekend. God bless America.